welcome to the debut segment of the K&K Amusement Podcast. So we're doing this a little out of order. So we just got off of our first ride, which was Full Throttle. For those who are familiar with Six Flags Great America, the ride looks and feels a lot like Max Force.
Same energy.
Yeah, same color scheme, same ride vehicle, all that kind of stuff. To me, though, Full Throttle has it. A lot more elements. Yeah. Still a good launch, but there's a lot more to it for me. Mary, what'd you think here?
Going in, I was we waited in the line. How long was the line, you think? Like 90 minutes, like they said?
I don't think it was an hour and a half. I think it was maybe an hour.
Yeah, well, going in, I thought it was going to be very similar, like one big launch and like a loop, and then that was about it. But then once you got back behind the part where like you can't see it from the line, there was the second stop, backwards launch, and then you go straight into like the big overhead, like 90-degree drop, which is a lot more than Max Force has to offer.
Yeah, again, I just think there's a lot more that you don't see. And one thing that we're noticing with this park already, and we'll talk about this more later, is the aesthetics here. Like, even driving in, like, you're seeing the mountains on both sides. Unlike Great America, that's basically just parking lot and asphalt. Here, there's a lot more to see, and I think that's going to add a neat element to a lot of the rides because you're getting to see a lot of cool scenery as it goes in. So, first ride of the day, for one that I haven't heard as much about. I guess it debuted in 2013. Yeah. That's a good start for one that I wasn't even looking forward to as much as the others.
Yeah, I didn't even know we were going to catch it coming in. So I'm going to give it like an 8.5 out of 10, just being safe.
I'm going to go like 7.5, only because it's early in the day and they have so many here, but that's not a statement that it's a bad ride. Yeah. It's a very cool ride and it's worth doing.
The wait was definitely worth it, especially because it wasn't a super long one.
All right, well, more to follow. On to the next. All right, so we're back. We just finished ride number 2, which was Magic Mountain's version of Goliath. It's very similar to Titan at Six Flags Over Texas, which I always liked. I think it's actually a clone of it. Mary, I'll let you start off this time.
I thought it reminds me a lot of Raging Bull at Great America. I don't know if I necessarily thought it was super exciting compared to like some of the features that other rides have had, but it was very solid. It was pretty fast. Some few little whip around things. Maybe not as fun as the first one, I would say.
Okay. What rating are you going with on this one?
I'll go with a 6 point, or just a 6 maybe.
Okay, we're going on the lower side.
Yeah,
I echo a lot of that. Again, I've ridden Titan at Six Flags Over Texas. This is the same ride. It's smooth, it's high, it's fast. Again, it's an enjoyable ride. It's not a wow me kind of thing. There was nothing on it that was so unexpected that it jumps out. I'd ride it again. I mean, it's a fun ride, but again, I could see why this ride, the line was a little shorter on this one, only about 25 minutes. Again,
22, 52.
So solid ride. I gave Full Throttle a 7.5. I would go with probably, about 6.5 on this one as well. And again, not saying it's a bad ride, just there are others that I'm looking forward to more that I think the wow factor is going to be higher. So, all right. Well, I'm not sure what we're on to next. We got to see what's on the map, but we'll be back shortly. All right. So these are coming with more frequency now because we waited all of 7 minutes or so for Lex Luthor's Drop of Doom. That is a giant drop-style tower that they've strapped on the backside of Superman Escape from Krypton, so it's 400 feet. Mary, do you want to start or do you want me?
You go ahead.
I've been on one like this before. I like giant drop-style rides, and this one is a lot closer to the one at Six Flags Great Adventure because they put that alongside the roller coaster King to Ka, which is 400-plus feet. This one to me might be my favorite one that I've been on yet, and the reason I say that is because the scenery here is amazing. I mean, you've got nothing but mountains and valley in the distance, so the scenery looking out of that one is amazing. And again, anytime you're 400 feet up, and when that thing lets go, your heart just drops for a second there. So as far as drop towers go, that may have just taken the lead for me, but it's close between that one and the one at Great Adventure. Barry, what do you think?
I thought it was super fun. We have our giant drop at Great America, but going high, like halfway up, you were like, this is where I'm supposed to stop, and it's not where it stops because it's much higher than you expect if you're used to that. And I thought it was more fun than definitely that. The view, like you said, the mountains, super cool. drop almost like lasted longer because like I guess it's a little higher up, but it didn't feel like a longer drop. It was more intense. It was fun. It was a lot more fun than our giant drop.
Oh, and waiting all of 6 minutes for it too
Yeah.
is a nice way to
Yeah,
go.
that's a
So
good one.
I think we're on to maybe either Scream or Twisted Colossus next, but we'll check back in. So until next time. All right, so Twisted Colossus was the latest version. I'm still getting my senses about me, so Mary, you can go ahead and start on this one.
I really liked it. I thought it was very fun. The line was only 18 minutes, which is very good. It was a long ride. You got to do it like basically the whole thing twice with like a few extra twists. It threw you around a little bit, but I think that's part of the charm. I think it was fun. Like there was a lot of twists and turns and like a boom, boom, you know. It was intense.
Yeah, no, I did like it. It's very reminiscent of Goliath at Great America, Six Flags Great America. This one doesn't have the height, and it was a little jerky for me. The big issue I have with this one is I'm old, and it's basically like getting two rides back to back because you actually ride both sides of the track. So what they did was they took a wooden racing coaster and they have you go through the circuit twice. So the second time, I think going through one loop of it would have been fine. The second loop, when we got on the brake run at the end, like I felt my stomach not loving me very much because again, it's like having back-to-back rides, which at my age and whatnot is a little tougher to deal with. It's a hell of a ride. Again, a little bit jerkier. I mean, it's intense because a lot of the movements there, I mean, you get snapped back and forth.
It's like a flip.
My knees a little bit in that ride vehicle were kind of banging around just a hair because of how intense it was, but one heck of an intense ride. I still think I'm going to give the nod to Goliath at Great America for me because of the first drop and the height, but that's an intense ride. I mean, I don't know what Colossus was like before they redid it, but I'm really digging these hybrids that they're doing and these remakes because it's really making a whole different ride experience. I mean, compared to what that had to be like as just an old wooden racing coaster, that's a much more intense ride experience. So, what are you giving it?
I think I liked it better than the one we rode, like last two. What did I give the first one? Like an 8?
You gave the first one a 7.5, I think.
I might give it an 8.5. I might go 9 here if I give that one, the first one, an 8.5.
As far as I'm gonna give this one 8.5. It's definitely intense. Like I said, the only drawback, and it's a me thing, not a ride thing, is again I get a little bit queasy going through the cycle twice. But I'm in the shade and getting some air now, and I feel better. So it was definitely a good ride. I'll go 8.5. All right, until the next one. Scream is next. All right, so that was just Scream, which is a B&M floorless coaster. So it's got some loops and some twists. The ride vehicle kind of makes it unique. Mary, what'd you think?
If you know Great America, it reminded me of Raging Bull and the Demon, but mixed together, because it was pretty fun. It also reminds me of Batman a little bit. The one issue I have is my head would bang on the twists, and as with wearing earrings, that digs right into your head. That hurt a little. Also very thirsty. And the air got in my mouth and got out my throat. But like, it's quite simple, it's pretty fun, it moves pretty fast, there's some loops. It's very average, reminds me of Batman, I think.
Okay. I don't have the problem with the head banging on those, being a little taller. I remember what that's like, from when I was younger. I actually thought that one was fairly smooth for the style of coaster it is, because those can get pretty rough. Overall, a nice ride experience. I mean, again, I don't find it to be overly intense. I mean, if you like inversions, I think we probably went upside down probably at least a handful of times, 5 or 6. So it's got some of that. Again, it's just it's a smooth B&M coaster. Good time. Again, I need to get something to drink and or get some lunch because because we're getting through these very quickly. Now my stomach is starting to fight against what's going on a little bit here. So I want to get in some shade, get something to drink, maybe a snack or something. So that way when we get to the more intense stuff on the other side, I'm not ready to die.
13-minute wait, so that wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
None of them have been bad.
Yeah, 13 minutes. That's actually becoming a problem for me. I need to wait a little longer.
Yeah,
I would probably give that one about a 7.
That's
Again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to say 7 out of 10.
Okay. Again, good solid ride. Nice option. Just nothing that you're going to write home about.
Right. Nothing special about it, I'd say.
All right. All right. It's been a minute. So let's see. We ate some lunch. We skipped Batman because it's the exact same replica of the one we had back at Great America. In fact, Great America had the first one, so then we went ahead and did Riddler's Revenge.
Yeah.
So that's a stand-up coaster. Mary, your thoughts?
I liked it. I was thinking it wouldn't go down, but then the guy helped me, and there was something about it that was really fun about it. We waited a long time. Longer than we had been waiting. It wasn't 20 minutes, it was more like 50. And I liked it. When you would go over the hills, your toes would be you would go up on your toes, and it was fun. But it's hot outside. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. For those who don't realize what Mary was talking about there, the ride mechanism, she wasn't heavy enough. So had the guy not manually pushed it down, Mary would have been suspended 6 to 8 inches off the ground riding the entire ride. That was something to see. Thankfully, we got that fixed. If you've been on one stand-up coaster, you've kind of been on them all. But that one was a bigger, more intense version of Iron Wolf that used to be at Great America. So it wasn't bad. A little loud, a little rough for me, being a little bigger up in the chest. The restraint was kind of sucking the air out of me just a little bit. But the ride experience was okay. It was better than I was expecting, considering I've been on stand-up coasters before. So, I'd only give it about a 6.5. But again, it was solid. It was worth the time.
Yeah, for someone who's never been on one before, it was a 7.75 or an 8. I liked it more than you would have because you've been on one before.
Gotcha.
So it was new for me.
All right, we're going to be looking at Superman Escape from Krypton next, I believe. All right, so I'm losing track. I don't know if that was ride 6 or 7. That was Superman Escape from Krypton. So it was the world's first coaster to launch out at more than 100 miles an hour. For anyone who's ridden Top Thrill Dragster or King Dakar, it kind of goes along that idea. It was kind of what they had before that. So you basically just shoot out fast as hell, go straight 90 degrees up, about 400 feet, and then back down. The interesting thing on this one, and I don't think it was always the case, is that it actually launched us backwards, and we came down facing forward. So that was kind of a nice surprise. You can see the hair kind of took a little bit of a hit on that one from the breeze, but for me, that was pretty cool. I don't love backwards, but it was still a fun launch, and actually it was pretty smooth. So I thought, again, it was, I wouldn't want to wait 3 hours for that because it's a really short ride, but if you like a good launch and some good height, that was pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. They only had one side running, so it probably was going half the speed of normal, but then it would have taken 15 minutes because it was a half an hour wait, which isn't bad at all. I thought it was really fun. It's got, basically its only thing is the fact that it has a launch, but...
It's got height. When you're 400 feet up, you're 400 feet up.
And they surprised us, which I think was really cool about it, so...
Yeah. One bit of an aside here, if you've never been to this park and we haven't, this ride is up in the Samurai Summit area, which is really aptly named because there is one hell of a hill that you have to traverse to get up here. We're looking forward to heading back down that hill now, but going up was no easy task. So we've got about 3 rides left that we're targeting. We're going hopefully for West Coast Racers, Viper, which is the old Shockwave at Great America. I can't wait. It's such a terrible ride, and I haven't ridden it in years, and I'm just really looking forward to it. And then X2. So those are the last 3 that we're targeting. One thing we're noticing with this park is because there's so many attractions, unlike a Great America, at first in the beginning of the day, I'm thinking to myself, we're going to have to decide if we really want to stay till the end. It's going to take us till pretty close to the end to get them all in, and we really haven't taken any huge breaks. It got really sunny. So like I said, man, this one can probably go all day. Age sucks, ladies and gentlemen. It's not fun. I'm feeling better, but there were a couple rides in a row there where I felt like I was going to puke.
Well, yeah, we had like 15-minute waits in between each one.
Yeah, so that and the combination is drastically hotter up in Valencia than it is in Anaheim. In Anaheim, it was supposed to be like a high of 73 today. Here it was 99, and we didn't recognize that until we pulled in the parking lot. So needless to say, the jacket and the jeans stayed in the car. I don't think we're going to need them.
No, I'm feeling pretty confident that we'll be okay.
I think so. So we got a few more to do, and we'll check in as we go. All right, so after a solid, what was it, an hour and a half, or was it more?
No, it was like an hour and 50.
Okay, almost 2 hour wait. We rode West Coast Racers. I'll go first. It kind of reminded me, in a sense, of Maverick from Cedar Point. Not as many drops, but same type of deal. Pretty cool concept, though. The racing concept, you actually take 2 laps, one on each side of the track, and it's by far the most racing feel I've ever had on a coaster. Like, the other car is over you and between you and around you at all times. So that part was pretty cool. I don't know, it loads extremely slow. It did break down for like 10 minutes, but again, it loads extremely slowly because of the 2-lap thing. So I don't know if that's one that I would on a regular basis wait the whole time for, but a neat ride. I mean, I'm glad we did it. I just don't know if it was worth the time. What do you think?
I don't think it was worth the time. I think it was frustrating. Like, the fact that we moved more when the ride had shut down because people were getting out of line, I'm frustrated. I mean, it's just a long line. I know it's new, and I think it'll probably decrease a little bit, but it loads really slowly. I mean, it was a long enough ride, but out of 10, that's like a 5.5 maybe. Just for the line. That's what we
if I'm going to try to just judge the ride itself, I'm going to give it like 7.5. Because again, I like the racing part of it. It was pretty smooth. The line moves extremely slowly. You feel like you stand in the same place for 20 minutes at a time, it felt like.
And then you move like 15 feet.
Yeah, that's the problem I didn't like. But again, so we got 2 left. We got Viper, which is it's the same thing as the old Shockwave at Great America with a little modification. And then we're going to finish the night with X2, which I'm really holding out high hopes for. So, see you in a bit. All right, so we just finished with Viper. It was a walk-on. It was about as popular as it was back in Shockwave was at Great America before they got rid of it. Again, there was a lot of nostalgia there for me on that one because I had the chance to ride Shockwave back in the day, and I remember it was a cool ride. It was intimidating, lots of loops and all these things. It was tall at the time. So I wanted to check that out. But before I give my opinion on this version, Mary, what were your thoughts?
It reminded me of the Demon at Great America, but it was better because the harness didn't go up to my head, and I couldn't bang around. But if it would have, I would have lost a earring or something into my skull. There were some crazy parts, but there were some parts that was slowed down because otherwise, if you would have shot on there, that would have been horrible.
Yeah, the thing about that one, it's still rough, and that was the downfall of Shockwave. It was a big part of it. It was very rough. The redesign on this one, you could definitely tell improved because it didn't have the neck breaker turn. Anyone who used to ride Shockwave knows exactly what I'm talking about. In this version, they smoothed it out, and you went into a gently banked turn before you hit the brakes, so it didn't snap you into place and rearrange your spinal column. Still rough, and again, for me, sometimes with these harnesses, as it goes, the G-forces are sucking them down into my chest and actually kind of create a little pressure there. It's when you work out as much as I do, what are you going to do? That's what it is. But again, it's not one that I would ride a million times a day, but it was kind of fun to get on it again after years. So we got one more to do, and that was a walk on, which is great. So now our last ride of the night is going to be X2, and I got high hopes for this one. It's a one-of-a-kind coaster. So we're going to see what we got, but we'll be back in a bit. All right, so we just finished our last ride of the night. It's a little past closing time. We were actually really lucky. We got an X2 as our last ride, which was our plan. I don't think we realized we were literally the last 2 they let into the line, even though we got in there at I don't know, maybe a little before 8.
Yeah, no, it was 8. It was 7:50, pretty much exactly.
Yeah. So X2, I was looking forward to all day. I've read about X and X2 for a long time. Don't even know how to describe it. I've never been on anything quite like it. It's just nothing you see coming. It was fun. It was high. It was fast. It was disorienting. I mean, you don't really know where the heck you are half the time. Definitely a cool ride. Mary, what'd you think?
I really liked it. Probably my favorite just because it's like not something, there's nothing like it. Like you said, you're not going to ride a coaster that gives you a very similar feeling. You go up and like at the top of the lift hill, you hang like basically upside down, and you go straight into like on your stomach looking at the ground, and it goes fast and like very fluid for sometimes, but like in a good way, I guess. The best possible way. I was flying around.
Yeah, the ride vehicle's interesting. Like it's like got a harness that like kind of comes together at the chest and then pulls down. But I mean, all the signs when you're in line talk about how it's just like disorients your senses, and I think that was a great way of putting it, because I didn't know where the heck I was for half the ride. I mean, you're twisting this way, you're turning that way. Again, you start off backwards, you're upside down, then you're facing forward, then you're upside down again. Definitely a cool ride. You know, it'll take some time for me to think about like where that falls in like my all-time list kind of thing. But it's definitely one of the most unique rides. That one almost reminds me, not in terms of the ride experience, but just I've never been anything like it, how I felt about Deja Vu back in the day. Because it was just, there was nothing else that was quite the same. This ride I think was cooler, but that's how I feel about it. It was like, I don't even know how to feel. It was just such a unique experience.
Yeah.
So no, with that, we're putting the books on this. We'll probably maybe do one more video to talk about our overall experience. But that's the last ride of the night, and we're going to head to the car and start making the trek back down to Anaheim.
Yeah. If that's, if I rank something else like a 9 or a 9.5, that's got to be the 10. If I have to put the cap on it.
That's probably my favorite of what we did today. Because again, it was just so different.
If my favorite gets to be a 10 out of 10, then this is the 10 out of 10.
I like it. All right, well, we'll put the finishing touches on later, but last ride, so good stuff. Terrible. And we stopped, I think we got off our last ride at about 9:25, used a bathroom, went shopping, things like that. So 9:50, not bad. The parking lot's pretty cleared out. Enjoyable day. You know, we definitely didn't do ourselves any favors by not realizing that the temperature in Valencia here at Magic Mountain is drastically different than Anaheim. Anyone who's local would laugh hysterically, because I'm sure they're like dummies. But yeah, so just for a frame of reference again, in Anaheim today, the high was 73. Out here, at least it listed it as 99. I don't know if it got to that, but it definitely was sunny and hot. Thankfully, we both opted for shorts and only brought like jeans and jackets with us, which we didn't need. So, again, I enjoyed it. I've looked forward. This is always a park that has been on my bucket list, so to speak, of amusement stuff. My rating, I'm still going to give Cedar Point the edge as far as what I think the best overall theme park I've ever been to is. When I look at their total ride package, how thrilling and unique all their rides are, and it's got a cool location too on the point. I still think Cedar Point for me is the best park I've been to, but this one's pretty awesome. It's worth the go. This is probably the prettiest park I've been to, with the mountains all around it and the overall scenery, though again, Cedar Point with the lake right there is pretty awesome. But it's definitely, if you're a roller coaster enthusiast, to me it's definitely worth the trip if you can make it. A lot of iconic rides here. Come on, they shot National Lampoon's Vacation, partially here. In fact, I think they drove right alongside Colossus here in front of me in the scene where the SWAT team is converging on the park after Chevy Chase and his family took the staff hostage. So, again, I enjoyed the day. Spending it with Mary was awesome. I definitely... Father Time is not being kind here. My ability to ride these things without breaks in between is definitely getting lesser with every passing year. But it's been 2 years since we've been to one now with COVID, which I didn't think about. And I made it through the day. There were a couple points there I wasn't sure. there were some dicey moments in the heat of the day. We probably could have done ourselves some favors by drinking a little more water at the time. But no, it was a lot of fun. Mary, give us your synopsis on everything.
I thought it was really fun. It's bigger and there's a lot to unpack, and we were here for, what was it, 10 and a half hours or something, and we barely made it to all of them, all the big ones. There are a few medium ones we didn't get to, but I thought it was really fun. I think Cedar Point might win overall because each ride is, I think, more unique.
Bigger wow factor per individual
each
ride.
Each one has its own bigger thing. I thought Goliath was a lot like Raging Bull for me. And I thought, there were a few that I was like, it reminds me of What's Back Home. So, like, they weren't anything special, but I think Cedar Point might have the edge there. But I thought it was super fun, and there were a lot of rides. And...
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think Magic Mountain gets it in quantity.
Yeah.
Like Mary said, I mean, we were here pretty much a full day. I mean, it took us a couple minutes to, to get in and all that, but I mean, we barely made it, and Tatsu was closed. That's the only slight disappointment. That's their flying roller coaster, kind of like Superman, but it's a unique layout. I would have liked, even though I'm not a huge fan of Superman, I would have done that one just to see. That was about the only marquee attraction that was closed, and it would have been tough. We would have had to have done something differently. We might not have made it. So, this one gets it in terms of quantity. Just for me, Cedar Point, there's like a lot of individual rides that just have such a wow factor to them. But again, if you like roller coasters, this is definitely worth a trip. This is definitely worth a trip. So, a lot of fun.
Since we were only an hour out.